A major resignation at the White House tonight over trade policy. Chief Economic Advisor Gary Cohn says he is leaving. In a statement, he says it has been an honor to serve. Cohn is a longtime opponent of the kind of protectionist policies the president is advocating right now, including calling for large tariffs on imported oil, imported steel, and aluminum. Meantime, the president kept pushing his tariff ideas today, but more and more Republicans in Congress are pushing back. Lisa Desjardins reports on the day's developments.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Republican leaders at the microphones for the first time since President Trump's tariff announcement were parts cautious and concerned. From House Republicans, including Speaker Paul Ryan, the careful approach. First, something positive.
And the president's right to point out that there are abuses. There clearly is dumping and transshipping of steel and aluminum. That's absolutely happening. There's a big overcapacity problem. Let's go focus on that.
Then a less direct negative.
And that is why we think that the proper approach is a more surgical approach so that we do not have unintended consequences.
In public, other Republicans similarly downplayed divide and echoed one word: targeted. Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma.
I think we want to be a lot more targeted in our approach. Really.
Senator Rob Portman of Ohio.
I think it should be more targeted, as I've said from the start.
And Congressman Mark Meadows of North Carolina.
Tariffs on finished goods that are targeted.
Targeted meaning smaller and more specific than the president's idea of broad 25% tariffs on steel and 10% on aluminum. This as the Aluminum Association weighed in today, saying it is, quote, deeply concerned about possible job losses. Matching that more direct tone was Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell, broaching fears of a trade war.
Where most Republican senators are right now, including myself, is genuine concern that this not escalate into something much broader.
Thank you very much. Thank
but
you.
The president is not shifting.
You know, when we're behind on every single country, trade wars aren't so bad.
Today, the president stood next to the Prime Minister of Sweden. Steel is one of his nation's 10 biggest exports. Mr. Trump again stood his ground.
When we're down by 30 billion, 40 billion, 60 billion, 100 billion, the trade war hurts them, doesn't hurt us. We need steel and we need aluminum. And you know, there's a theory that if a country doesn't have steel, it doesn't have a country. And it's true.
The question for lawmakers today, what will be the president's final policy?
The history of the president, the answer would be yes, because too often it goes, this position today is not this position tomorrow.
Also high on the concern list, Canada. Mr. Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau talked trade in a phone call last night. Canada is the U.S.'s #1 foreign supplier of both steel and aluminum. White House officials say the tariffs will be formalized in the next 2 weeks.
And Lisa joins me now. So Lisa, while we're watching this big division between the president and his own party, Republicans, someone in the White House who he's relied on is now leaving.
And not just anyone, the point person on these kinds of large economic issues. Judy, I have to tell you, talking to senators today, Gary Cohn was someone they were talking about, scratching their head. I talked to 2 different Senate committee chair people who said they weren't sure why Gary Cohn was still staying, because clearly the president is going in a different direction from what he believes in. The other man's name on their lips, Peter Navarro. He is the one who wants these protectionist policies in place. He's someone that more and more we see concern with from people on Capitol Hill.
And who was just recently given a promotion in the White House as all this, the president was announcing what his positions are on tariffs, on steel and aluminum. So where do things go in the Congress with this kind of dissension with Republicans?
First, I guess the question is, can Congress do anything? Yes, they have that power. The Constitution grants Congress clear power here, but they would need a 2/3 vote to override the president on any tariff policy that he promotes. There is a bill by Senator Mike Lee of Utah that would give Congress clear power, that Congress would have to vote on every tariff. Not clear how many votes it has. Judy, talking to members of Congress, these are smart people who've done this a long time. I have to tell you, there's really 2 tangible approaches that I felt from Republicans. 1, hope the president changes his mind. And 2, hope the president changes his mind. I can't convey enough how utterly unsure how to react to this members of Congress are, who have free trade in their veins And I think, Judy, that's what the president was hoping for. That's what he came here to do, and he has.
Well, we've seen dissension between the president and Republicans. We're in new territory here, aren't we?
That's right. And on this issue, on trade, it's not just by party. This is regional as well. Right. There are some Democrats, like Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who loves what the president is doing. So the divides are not clear. But I think the bigger story, Judy, is this is a struggle over power, a balance of power issue that has been with this country for hundreds of years. And right now, the president is showing the power is with him. Congress is not sure how to deal with that.
And he doesn't seem to be prepared in any way to back down.
That's right.
Lisa Desjardins, thank you very much.